Greetings YouTube, welcome back to the channel. A lot of my videos, really most of my videos, are casual. And even the ones that I make ranting about a Kabam Mike forum post regarding a potential nerf of Hercules or an offer that's so more trash than cash that it's an insult to the player base. All those, pretty low stakes. Pretty low stakes. I mean, you can agree, you can disagree, but not exactly life-changing topics. This video, out of all the videos I've made, since I can even remember, is different. Because this video involves a warning as much as it is an acknowledgement. And what I mean by that is the way that offers are changing in this game is like the difference between watching cable television or multiple things on your phone. It's not a coincidence that younger generations like to, for example, watch a YouTube video while playing the Marvel Contest of Champions. And several phones and then eventually apps developed technology, and I really do think Android is first, and most things I've seen as an Apple lifetime user have been that Apple's basically just copied Android's technology, and it's hard to argue that. But the appeal of playing this game while watching a YouTube video in, say, the top right of your iPad or iPhone or Android device is that you can do multiple things at once because your brain can now get multiple sources of dopamine at once. And if you're unfamiliar with this, I'm not going to make this a biology lecture, but imagine that the synapses in your brain light up when you get excited. This can be everything from a hug from a crush to a kind word that was said to you, but obviously it can extend to anything that gives you pleasure. And this game is designed to give you pleasure. Every time you land on a champion that you want or didn't even know maybe you wanted, especially the higher rarity the better, your brain is given dopamine. You're feeling a sense of pleasure. And that is something that Kabam has capitalized on. Like so many mobile companies, this dopamine conversation is, of course, not exclusive at all to MCOC. But this is the reality of 2024. I would argue that the cable, where you're focused on one TV screen at a time, maybe you're gathered around watching a movie as a family, that old model versus the new model where you might watch the movie in the top right corner as you play a game, as you're getting notifications from messages. You're used to doing 10 things at once now instead of one thing at once, whereas your parents, and especially grandparents, completely different, slower paced world. That analogy, I feel like, works pretty well for this store. This is the 2015 model of the game. It is something designed to make your brain look at one thing at once. And it's interesting because when I did a video on the evolution of this store and its layout, which you did not get to buy in or out of, it's just some accounts like mine, one day you logged in and it was a vertical versus a horizontal layout where you had to look at all the offers before you even went to places like the Glory store, Black ISO store. It was very distracting. It was very off-putting. I think Kabam did not see an increase in sales when they tested it, and they heard more negative feedback than positive, I would imagine. And so they reverted back to the old format, thankfully. And I have not seen any call or update, unless it's out there and I just missed it, which is possible, for them to return to the new format anytime soon. But that doesn't mean that they're done innovating. That doesn't mean that they're going to stick with the analogy of staring at a TV screen for 30 minutes, maybe a couple hours. We have these daily specials. We have the special Black ISO store. We've got the daily cards, etc., etc. But this is what I'm going to call the old school method of dopamine. This is a model designed to get you to buy one offer at a time. And the only bonus layer that I will say this is an outdated system, but still somewhat effective, I should say. And that is when you scroll down and you see the stamp card selectors, which there is no Valiant stamp card selector yet. And this Paragon one, which was pretty game-changing months ago, is now really heavily outdated. I would say at this point, objectively speaking, the 6-star 6 stones are the most valuable temptation for it. But I haven't been tempted to get this at all because the daily specials, other than Sundays are really the only day that I care about it because of level 3 revives, which I'm out of because of Necropolis exploration. That's as valuable to me as any of the crystals. But until 7 stars can come into this and you have a Valiant daily special where even you have a 99% shot at a 6-star and a 1% shot at a 7-star for $5, which I doubt that would be the model because it would be too much value to Valiant players. But that would be what would change things for me. So this is the outdated model. What we have now on the Kabam website is the new model. A triple targeted interface model designed to give you so many reasons to regret not purchasing from this site. Kabam makes a ton of more money from everything that we've seen because they get around the 30% cut that is the combination of both the Google Play and or Apple Store and their legal requirements to actually be able to have an app in their app store making purchases. And that monopoly was challenged by Fortnite and I should say the company that behind the makers of Fortnite, and they sided with that company, the courts did, which paved the way for Kabam running the Marvel Casino of Champions to give us new casino motivation. Make no mistake about it. My number one goal when I review an offer is to stop unhealthy gambling addiction in this game. I realize that there are plenty of people out there who have a lot of money to burn, and I say burn it. If this is what makes you happy on this game, do it. This video is not targeted at the people who can afford to spend, who knows, maybe even thousands of dollars a month on this. If you can do that and still pay for food and rent, and if you've got a spouse or kids to take care of their needs, then hey, have at it. There are worse things in life that you can spend on than this game on paper. But I've met people who become so addicted to being at the front of the line of chasing the rainbow at the end of the yearly deals or monthly deals that they feel like if they don't buy these offers, they can't catch up. This was never the case more than it was during July 4th weekend, which saw players that in some cases hadn't played for months buy up all the offers and suddenly have way more rank 5 6 stars than people who played the game every day faithfully the entire 2023 year but didn't have the couple grand needed to buy up all the offers from their progression levels and above during July 4th week. That then got magnified because of the new Valiant progression title in November. November also being the month of Cyber Weekend that further divided the community, and we're seeing literally that be the case today because that is the release of the Summer of Pain 2.0, which I'm calling the Winter of Pain because it's, well, still the winter. But all this is designed to get people to feel even more anxiety about being behind. If you're used to being a top player in the game and you choose to not do Necropolis, you choose to not buy July 4th or Cyber Week, your alliance is going to be matched up in war against alliances with maybe worse players but way better rosters and defenders that will melt you down by sheer ranking of those defenders. You're going to be placing down rank 4 6 stars going up against rank 2 and rank 3 7 stars. And then, of course, we've seen that exact analogy over and over again in Battlegrounds, even more so since July 4th. The goal is for Kabam to get more people to make more impulse purchases, and they're going to say, hey, we're giving you more value than we've ever given you before. But this website hasn't even existed for a year. So you're giving players a chance to be more tempted than ever to gamble money they may potentially not be able to justify on this game, while making players also feel punished if they can't keep up with the spending. It's not just a war on free-to-play players, it's a war on your sanity. And I would be very irresponsible on this channel if I didn't touch base on this. And I know, like I said at the beginning of this video, this is a very serious topic. Not one that I say with any sort of jest. You're not going to find a lot of puns in this video. But it's because I've seen gambling addiction in my family. I've seen gambling addiction with my friends. I've seen it with former students. I've seen it with friends on YouTube. Because it is fun to swipe that credit card and load up more crystals, or buy as many revives as it takes to clear something like Necropolis. But sometimes you have exciting fun in the moment, but instant buyer's remorse after. And that's what I'm trying to curb in this video. We need to be honest about the risks of gambling addiction in this community with this new format especially. I know we can all joke and roll our eyes when I say the economy of the game has changed forever, and it changes forever every couple months. Or more, to be honest. But this is different. This is different than the Black ISO store getting a buff and suddenly that economy changing. This is an entirely new website that not only gives you more units than the in-game store, but at least right now, even gives you bonus units on top of those units that this $200 purchase will give you another $1,760. That's making you, it's like driving by McDonald's and saying today only, Big Macs, 50 cents. And you're like, I don't even like Big Macs, but I don't want to lose money on this. By the way, that's a reference from a very old Jim Gaffigan joke for anybody who may recognize that. I am borrowing it. I am not stealing it. All in all, be responsible. The interesting thing is, while it's easier said than done at times, I think players have done a better job of not being motivated to spend as much cash in this game in general. And that's why Kabam's getting desperate to make moves like this, because they're seeing their revenue decline probably on a direct trajectory, and instead of innovating and doing more to help the player base, they're ramping up the motivation to spend your cash, which of course is not units, it's cash, on this website. I know this is a longer video than normal, but I appreciate those of you that clicked on it and watched. It's a topic that is near and dear to my heart, and while it's not easy to talk about, it's definitely important too.